lovely unveiling of a historical marker here in Wise County, Virginia today. I just want to recognize a few special folks that kind of helped make this happen. Some members, the full member and organization of the Industrial Development Authority, the IDA. I don't know if Cliff Carson is here, but I know Carl Snodgrass is in attendance. So thank you very much, and on behalf of this event, thank you for your attendance, and thank you for helping to help this community strive and Wise County succeed as we do. Also, Donnie Rose and Ron Helton, thank you both, and on the entire behalf of the entire Cumberland's Airport Commission, we really appreciate, obviously the use of this airport, the Lonesome Pine Airport, as we kick off this lovely historic event today. Bob Adkins and Dana Kilgore, the Board of Supervisors, and your support and your vision and the focus that you've had to help get behind this. This event took place 4 years ago, believe it or not, on July 17th, 2015. So it's lovely to see this commemorative sign go up at the Lonesome Pine Airport and have the support of the commission. The Town of Wise, Mayor Jeff Dotson, I know you're here, so thank you very much. On behalf of the Department of Aviation, Amber Wilson, I would like to invite you to come up for just a moment to say a few words. We really appreciate your contribution toward this sign.
Good morning. As she said, I'm Dr. Amber Wilson with the Department of Aviation. Director Mark Flynn wishes he could be here today, but unfortunately he had a prior family obligation and is unable to, but sends his biggest congratulations. He wanted me to share with you that we at the Department of Aviation are still dedicated to fostering and emerging this important technology and important market across the Commonwealth, and thank all the partners 4 years ago, over the last 4 years, that helped make today a possible. Thank you.
As always, the Wise County Economic Development, we just really appreciate the vision that Carl has instilled in this region, and as we grow forward, there's lots of opportunity for economic growth, and we want to keep striving for the sky, no pun intended, but the sky's the limit on the opportunity in this region. So we're really appreciative of the support and the rally behind. ARC-TV, thank you for being here today. The Inn for providing our food and refreshments after the ceremonies conclude. Steve Goad from Old Dominion University, Jesse Fitz from VEDP, and of course our constitutional officers Doug Mullins, Dolores Smith, Chuck Slimp, and Ronnie Oakes. We really appreciate your attendance, and our members of the Health Wagon who have showed up after their event early this morning. So again, on behalf of this event, I really appreciate you having me here as the announcer. This is my home. I'm so proud to be here today and proud to have our attendees and our special keynotes that will be following behind my introductions. But I want to welcome you all to this ceremony, this historical aviation marker that is putting into place a very, very, very historic event that some of us may never have thought could have been possible without the efforts of this entire group of people in front of me and the entire efforts across the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. So appreciate you all. It's my honor and privilege to invite our next guest, Delegate Terry Kilgore. He's been a member of the Virginia House of Delegates and representing our first legislative district since he was first elected in '93. As a delegate, Terry Kilgore, he represents Scott and Lee counties and part of Wise County and also the city of Norton. He serves as chairman of the House of Commerce and Labor Committee and is a member of the House Courts of Justice Committee and House Rules Committee. So it's especially dear to introduce Delegate Kilgore because he actually helped carry through the House Joint Resolution 232 that commemorates the Let's Fly Wisely event that happened here on this ground 4 years ago, just last month. So I will welcome him up to present some resolutions to some folks involved.
Thank you. What a great job singing the national anthem. That was really but it's great to be here. Great to be here on this occasion. And I just want to thank Jack and Andy for getting this put together. I mean, this is a great event. Thanks to my good friend Senator Warner for being here today to commemorate this event. and how important it was. So, and I'm going to mention him here in the House Joint Resolution here in just a minute. But we were able to pass a House resolution, and I'm going to make this presentation here today about commending Let's Fly Wisely. Whereas at Let's Fly Wisely, an aviation event held on July 17, 2015 in Wise County, Florida, Inc., successfully conducted the first Federal Aviation Administration approved research flights for medical package deliveries and demonstrated the powerful humanitarian benefits of unmanned aerial vehicle technology. And whereas Let's Fly Wisely was a pioneering cooperative partnership that brought together Flirty, NASA, and a lot of other, the Health Wagon, remote area medical, other groups together. And whereas Let's Fly Wisely demonstrated the power of collaboration between high technology startups, government entities, university, and nonprofit organizations to further the common good, as lessons of Let's Fly Wisely disseminate throughout the country and the world. Emergency delivery of essential medical supplies to citizens in need will improve for all people. And whereas our Senator Mark Warner and Governor Terry McAuliffe labeled Let's Fly Wisely event as a Kitty Hawk moment that ushered in a favorable climate and modern ecosystem in the Commonwealth for business and technological innovation in unmanned aerial vehicle applications. And whereas the Smithsonian Institution's Air and Space magazine reported on the event, stating that amid the rolling hills of rural Southwest Virginia, a bit of American aviation history was written last week at the Lonesome Pine Airport near Wise. And that's big. And so, that's big. So, anyway, we passed this, and it was resolved that the clerk of the House of Delegates prepare copies of this resolution for presentation to the co-founder and chief executive officer of Flirty, Inc., Matthew Sweeney, co-founder and chief operations officer of Flirty, Inc., Tom Bass, advisory board member of Flirty, Inc., Shim, okay, that's good. Director of NASA Langley Research, David Bowles, President of Virginia Tech, Tim Sands, Director of Mid-Atlantic Aviation Partnership, John Green, Executive Director of the Health Wagon, Dr. Teresa Gardner, Clinical Director of the Health Wagon, Paula Mead, Executive Director of the RX Partnership, Amy Garrick, the Appalachian College of Pharmacy, Adjunct Associate Professor of Pharmacy, Shamley, as we know him, Chief Executive Officer of Ryan Media Lab, Mark Ryan, and partner Kyle Mark Ryan, remote area medical president Sam Brock, who sadly has passed away, manager of Lonesome Pine Airport Jared Powers, and Wise County UAS event coordinator Andy Kilgore. So this is the resolution. And then I have all these copies for the folks who I've named, so we'll get those to you here in a few minutes. So thank you so much.
This next guest that is in attendance today has been mentioned a couple of times. Our CEO and founder of Flirty, which is a drone delivery company and the company that conducted the deliveries for this Let's Fly Wisely event. I'd like to welcome Matthew to the stage, up here to the podium. Matthew is the CEO of Flirty, which is the world's leading independent drone delivery service. Flirty is trying to reinvent the delivery process for humanitarian, online retail, and food delivery industries with a mission to save lives and improve lifestyles by making delivery instant for everyone. So, Matt.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back in Wise and a privilege to have been a part of this historic event. I'd like to thank Senator Warner. Senator Warner helped to pioneer the telecommunications industry in the United States, and also saw the opportunity that would become of drone delivery and helped coin this event, the Kitty Hawk moment for this industry. And he was absolutely right. In 2021, the aircraft that conducted this delivery will go on display in the Smithsonian alongside the Wright brothers Wright Flyer, which we're very excited about. I thought it might be helpful to just kind of share a little bit of background on myself and Flirty. I grew up in Australia, went to Sydney University, and then got a scholarship to study in China. And when I was in China, the precursors to modern drones, they were model helicopters at the time, they went on sale. And I remember looking at that technology and thinking, well, if in the 1980s the hobbyists who were in the homebrew computer club and experimenting with the early computers could have ended up founding Microsoft and Apple, maybe the hobbyists in the drone industry could found the companies that would create the American drone delivery industry. And so I started building the first delivery drones in my dorm room in China, went back to Australia, and we thought it was a good idea, but we wanted to test the concept. So we announced publicly on a Monday night that we were launching a drone delivery company. Woke up Tuesday morning, we're on the front page of Fox News and CNN. Wednesday, some of the largest companies in the world had reached out to us. Thursday, I started packing my bags to move to America. And in 2014, moved to America. Started in Silicon Valley because that's where some of the investment was. But ironically, with all of the airports in Silicon Valley, that's going to be one of the last places in America with regular drone delivery. So we looked for locations where we could get fast track regulatory approval. And so that's how we then we set the really ambitious goal to be the first company to get approval to do a drone delivery in America, which a lot of people thought was impossible, and it was because there were no regulations that would enable it. But then we met Jack Kennedy. And you'll note that resolution that was read didn't mention Jack. Jack's kind of the man behind the curtain who helps make all this happen, and he doesn't like to get the credit. So I want to make this as awkward as possible and ask everyone to stand up and give a round of applause to Jack Kennedy. I'd like to thank the Wise County community for helping to make this happen and embracing drone delivery. I'd like to thank Flirty investors, some of whom are here, as well as Gary, for helping to bring everyone together. I'd like to thank Mark Ryan, who's here today, who leads Flirty's government relations and regulatory work. And I'd like to thank John Foger, who sadly passed away recently. When we conducted this drone delivery, John helped lead the NASA contingent that actually flew in the medicine on a remotely piloted aircraft. And after that, John then joined Flirty and helped lead our engineering efforts. And John recently passed away, but as Martin Luther King Jr. said, John had been to the mountaintop and seen the promised land, and he may not get there with us, but he's helped us all to get there. And we believe that we are now less than 14 months away from receiving nationwide regulatory approval to scale drone delivery across the country. And this is in part to President Trump's program to fast-track regulatory approval for drone delivery that Flirty was fortunate to be picked in. It's also fortunate that Amazon was not picked in the program. And so we're excited about what the future is bringing. And as we stand here at the trail of the Lonesome Pine, this brings me to Andy. I met Andy in Wise. Andy then moved to Reno, and her dream is to sing, but she spent the last 4 years helping me to run Flirty as my chief of staff and also as my partner. So I'd like everyone to give a round of applause to Andy. Thank you.
He's trying to embarrass me too. I don't like that. So we've got a couple of really innovative things happening here in Wise County, and I hope that trend continues. One of those innovative technologies is located right across the way. The Graphene Research Center is what I'm referring to. So at this time, I'd like to invite a couple of folks up to stand to the side of me, and I'll be introducing a few exciting things that are happening here. Dr. Steve Hooper, Steve Goad from Old Dominion University, and Carl Snodgrass, if you'd like to please join us. Bart Massey. And Matthew Sweeney, if you'd like to step up here, please. So the significance of this group of individuals, Dr. Steve Hooper has a really innovative idea and in something called graphene, and I'm going to let you say a few words about what graphene is, because I will probably butcher it. I'm not as good and well known or versed in that area. So if you'd like
Well,
to
I
say.
told Jack I didn't want to do that, but I will. Graphene is a single carbon atom hooked together in what's called a hexagonal lattice. So that's just kind of graphene talk for it's very thin, very strong, strongest material known to man, and was discovered really in 2004, or at least how to get graphene into the market in 2004. And so we've come up with some real innovative ways to use graphene. It's kind of the material of the future. It will be kind of like plastics was a generation or two ago, and it's going to wind up in everything. So just look for graphene. We're really excited about being here and excited about being part of the community as well.
You did a lot better than I was. So graphene obviously has some really amazing uses, and there's a lot of future uses for graphene and incorporation into different technologies. So the reason I've invited this group of folks up here in front of me is because they've actually signed Memorandum of Understandings, MOUs, with the Graphene Research Center in order to work with them and try and innovate this technology into existing technology and maybe even incorporate it into some new technologies in the future. In particular, I'd like to invite Steve Goad to speak on behalf of ODU. And what the ODU Memorandum of Understanding is about is for the Research Center to provide material science expertise in innovation and entrepreneurship. So if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. I didn't know. Thanks, Jack. Jack, okay, by a show of hands, is there anyone that Jack doesn't know? What? Well, you'll know by the end of the meeting. Hi, Jack, because if you don't, you need to know Jack, because Jack seems to know everyone and is able to not only know everybody, but be able to put these wonderful opportunities together to actually help this region and move it forward. And what that means is let's create businesses that make money and hire people. I'm with the ODU Institute for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. That is our mission. Of course, I've just kind of butchered that, but that is our mission, is we're here and very excited to be a part of this to help Jack and other businesses and Dr. Hooper find these solutions, turn them into a reality, rapidly scale them, and get them to market so it creates jobs and money. Thank you very much.
So in addition to the ODU MOU with the Graphene Center, ODU has also signed an MOU with the Industrial Development Authority, and that's the reason I've asked Carl to come up here. There's a twofold agreement that's going into place, not only to make the region here possibly a graphene hub, but also for medical sample feasibility studies and the commercialization of medical sample deliveries, perhaps. So we're really excited as well about the IDA ODU partnership. And Carl, I know you mentioned you didn't want to talk either, but you're welcome to if you'd like.
Everything's been said
I said it, yes. Okay. In addition to that, we've got a gentleman up here by the name of Bart Massey, who runs the USA Drone Port in Kentucky, Hazard, Kentucky, and he's branching out and doing a lot of innovative things actually in our region. So just putting a plug in for you, Bart. On September 14th and 15th and November 9th and 10th, Bart is going to teach and have a lesson on how to learn to fly safely and legally so you can become a Part 107 UAS commercial pilot right here at the Lonesome Pine Airport. So that's an exciting opportunity, and he's bringing it to our region. So any of you who are interested, that opportunity is soon approaching. Bart, if you would also like to say a few words about, on behalf of the USA Drone Port, you're more than welcome.
Jack, I appreciate you. Jack's been, he's such a wonderful person, ties people together, networking,
first person that I had worked with in the state of Virginia. I live an hour and 10 minutes north of here. We're all part of the same region, and we're all in this for the same reason: sustainable income, economic growth in this region. We saw drones as a possibility, and we wanted to do something that was new, innovative, and had the possibility for our children to be able to grow up and have a good income in our region. So the same is true on the other side of the border as well. We're families, we're friends, and we're working together. I think this is a consolidated effort. So I'm excited to be working in Virginia and working with you all. Really excited about the opportunities, Jack. Thank you again for all that. And you know, Andy's, she didn't mention this, but she's also one of our board members, our board of advisors, and so is Jack with USA Drone Port. So we respect deeply their advice in our moving forward. And thank you all. We'd love to show you the USA Drone Port at some point, and look forward to working with you all in the future. Bless you.
In addition to that, also as our industry grows in the USA, in USA, the UAS industry is rapidly growing, and we're seeing this throughout different places throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're also seeing this throughout the entire United States. So with this use of a new technology like graphene, there's also opportunity to incorporate that into different materials that may be used in the UAS industry. So on behalf of Flirty, we also are very interested in exploring the R&D and the different types of technology that graphene might present. So thank you all for your future vision, and again, Dr. Steve Hooper, thank you for putting your faith in this region and putting this new innovative technology right here in our backyard in Wise County. Again, none of that would be possible without the community support here. I think I left a couple of names off earlier, and again, I apologize. I love you all. Steve Bates on the Board of Supervisors. I don't know if he's here. I saved him till last. And Kristen Westover is the president of MECC. There's also plenty of opportunity for the UAS industry, and they've incorporated some future vision and foresight into the community college located in our back door, and also I'm an alumna of as well. So we're looking forward to the future innovations that are happening right here in this region. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our U.S. Senator Mark Warner. Senator Warner was elected to the U.S. Senate in November of 2008. He was re-elected for a second term in November of 2014. He serves on the Senate Finance, Banking, Budget, and Rules Committee, as well as the Select Committee on Intelligence, where he's the vice chairman. From 2002 to 2006, he also served as the governor of Virginia. And while he left office, Virginia was ranked as the best state for business, and the best managed state, and the best state into which to receive a public education. So I'm very honored to introduce our U.S. State Senator Mark Warner.
Thank you. All right, go ahead. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for that introduction. Let me echo what Terry said. Great job on the national anthem. And somehow I think you've got a very bright future. And this is the kind of Wise County talent that goes off around the country and the world and does great things, but also comes back home. And this is a special day. It's a special celebration. This is a community that has been kind to embrace me for 30 plus years, with Teresa and Paul a little bit earlier with the health wagon. I think one of my first trips to Southwest were back about 91, 92, and it is a lot of very, very special people. And it's great to see you and so many people who've been part of my kind of journey through Virginia. I also want to acknowledge Terry Kilgore. I'd forgotten that Terry was elected all the way back in 1993.
I'm old.
How come you look young and I look old? You know, but Terry does a great job for all of Southwest Virginia, even as you said, even if he is from Scott County as opposed to Wise County. But we were down at the health wagon presentation as well. A really remarkable, again, demonstration of kind of Southwest Virginia ingenuity, entrepreneurship, and just willing to stick to itness about getting things done. I want to also join the group of kudos and recommendations and hallelujahs for Jack Kennedy. I've known Jack since I got involved in Virginia activities, and he is, as Steve and Matt and others have mentioned, he is relentless. He is always forward-looking. I'd never heard of graphene until 2 years ago, and again, through Jack Kennedy. And so many of the activities that we're going to commemorate in a few minutes here today around drones, Jack has always been an advocate, trying to see around that next corner for Virginia, for our country. One of the things that I think people in the community should be particularly grateful for, because there's very few places around Virginia where there is such a connection between NASA and a K-12 education system. I was, one of my trips a number of months ago, I was here, and of course Jack wasn't in town because he was running all over the country someplace, but I made sure I got a chance to sit down with the teachers and the students who are putting together some of the science experiments, and then they have the opportunity to visit usually NASA Langley or go see some of the space shots. It's a real, again, asset to the region and to the Commonwealth. Jack, thank you for all you do. Thank you so much. We are going to ultimately, by 4 o'clock this afternoon, unveil the sign. But there are a couple more things. I just want to, unmanned aerial systems. I think, or drones, I think has an incredible opportunity. Some of you know that back in about 1982, I was lucky and fortunate enough to fall into a brand new industry at that point called cell phones. And most of my law school classmates who were all practicing law firm at big law firms at that point said, Mark, go get a real job. Who's going to want a cell phone? They're still practicing law. And I was very blessed, very lucky. I failed a couple times before that. But as much of a revolution as cell phones brought to technology, to communications, I couldn't have even imagined at that point that, with the internet, with social media, all the things that we receive over our devices these days, all would have started with a cell phone. I would make the case that as cell phones were to the 80s and 90s, unmanned aerial systems or drones can be to the 2020s and 2030s. So the idea that in many ways we created that Kitty Hawk moment right here in Southwest Virginia, in Wise County, where through the good offices of Flirty, and Matt, if you want to continue in that expedited program, I would remind you that Amazon brought their second headquarters to Virginia. I'm not sure you're ready fully for that second headquarters yet, but I can assure you that Virginia offers a lot of very interesting assets, and we hope you'll take full advantage of those. But I would argue that what we're commemorating here 4 years ago, when you all had the vision to say, how can we use these devices for delivery to help people in terms of the delivery of medicine to the RAM clinic, was history will look back upon. I actually do believe in the same way that we look back at Kitty Hawk, at one of those moments where we kind of flicked the switch. And in Virginia, Matt, I'd remind you that we were one of the 6 states that got the FAA designation 6 years ago. We've got the Virginia MAP program over, mostly being run out of Virginia Tech. And yes, there are a few other larger companies operating there too, so we'd invite you there as well. And I think it is the kind of where we can head. And the fact that this kind of innovation, this kind of historic moment didn't take place up in North Virginia, didn't take place in Richmond, didn't even take place at Langley. It took place right here in Wise County, I think goes to the kind of entrepreneurship feeling, the resilience, and the just plain grit and determination that so embodies and represents all of you in Southwest Virginia. And I'm so proud to be here. I'm honored that over the last close to 30 plus years, you all have taken me in so many ways. I commit to you that I will continue, as long as I have this job, to continue to advance the interests of Southwest Virginia and also continue to advance what I think this industry in terms of drones and unmanned aerial systems can do to try to bring about improvements to people's lives. I think it is every bit as big as cell phones were in the early 80s, and let's make it happen. So let's not just make the first flights here, but let's make sure we actually build next generation drones right here in Southwest Virginia as well. So thank you very, very much for having me. I know we've got only one or two more speakers before we do the great unveil, but I want to take, with Terry's dispensation, I want to take a gubernatorial, senatorial prerogative for a moment, because there may be another historic announcement made very shortly, and actually invite Matt, the CEO of Flirty, back up to the stage for what I hope will be a very special announcement. Matt, can you come back up? And Matt, please, can we bring you back up? A lot of people are watching and listening. Everything is being recorded. So Matt, I just tell you, as a former governor, senator, I've had a lot of opportunities to speak. I really hope that this next announcement you make, that you don't blow it. So get it right.
Thank you, Senator. Join me, please. Andy, I love you with all my heart. And it would be my privilege to spend the rest of my life loving you and be by your side.
I also am in the business of marrying people out of 14 now. So when you set the date.
On with the show.
I'm too shaky now, and I'm crying. Oh my. Okay, well, let's just unveil the sign. So, Matt and Terry and Senator Warner. Oh, I'm all shaky. I'm so sorry. And then Layla, our special pictured guest that's on this unveiling sign. Again, I really appreciate everyone for coming. coming out and being in attendance today. I've got a little bit of a quivery voice now, so I apologize that I'm not the MC that I was earlier. We'll get up and take some photos with this sign. You're more than welcome to come up and take photos as well. We're going to have some food in the back. Again, we appreciate everyone for attendance today, and including my mom, who's over there. I didn't realize that she was going to be here. Didn't know that was going to happen. Thank you, everyone, for helping this event be a possibility. So we'll celebrate and take some photos now. Thank you.
Thank you.